supply side policies. From the supply side policies, you see that now the measures that the government has to take to make sure that the businesses are happy from the side of the supply are the following. The government has to make sure that they have a reduction of costs. They have a reduction of costs. So now, to ensure that they have a reduction of cost, what are they supposed to do? They have to make sure that the cost of making business in South Africa goes down. Because if the price of making business is too high, it's a knock-on effect on our prices of food and our prices of other consumer goods. So when they reduce the costs, then automatically the business side is going to be nice to us as consumers as well, and they're going to be happy. So if you want to have a reduction of costs, what are you supposed to do as the government? Make sure that you improve the infrastructure. We have infrastructure services. So they must provide them with infrastructure. Why? Because the cost of roads, the cost of water, energy are too high for businesses. So if the government ensures that they have, sometimes they should subsidize them, then the businesses will be happy. All right. So when we talk about infrastructure services, we talk about water, talk about energy, transport, even communication. I'm happy that the businesses are finally realizing that we are paying too high for the communication costs. So the government really tries. They want the businesses to get the profit, but they are looking after the consumers as well. So I hope you follow the case and you understand what goes there. Right. Then under supply side policies, they must have a reduction of costs. How do they have a reduction of costs? By making sure that they provide proper infrastructural services. Examples: water, energy, and transport. And then we have administrative cost. So also they must take care of administrative costs. So like for example, when they are filling forms for tax, they must be able to know what to do. It must not be too cumbersome and take too much time from them. And it must not take too long. So it means also it must be cheaper. And you must be able to know what you are doing when you are looking at administrative costs. Right? And then there must be as well cash incentives. There must also be cash incentives. Like for example, for those businesses that want to go and start businesses in smaller areas, in rural areas, they must be compensated for that. That is reduction of costs under supply side policies. Then the second part is the improving the efficiency of inputs. Improving the efficiency of inputs. So how do they ensure that they improve the efficiency of inputs? Tax rates. So how is the government going to ensure that they improve the efficiency of inputs? So they must make sure that they maintain low tax rates. Because if they charge too much income tax, people are not going to be motivated to go to work. Then it means they are losing revenue. As well, if the businesses are charged too much tax, they are not going to be motivated to pay tax. They won't be motivated as well to provide some of these goods. So government must look at the tax rates. The second factor that they must look at, capital consumption. Capital consumption, which means they must allow depreciation to take place. So they must compensate businesses if their machinery has depreciated, and they must allow them to get rid of it maybe 3 or 5 years after they've used it at a lower cost without charging them. If they can do that, then the businesses will be happy as well. Human resource development. Under human resource development, what is the government to do here? They have to improve the quality of labor. So how do they improve the quality of labor? We've already talked about this. Said the government, they make sure that there is efficient training for people that are starting jobs. As well, they have to make sure that the quality of education is tops. Everybody knows what to do, and they move. The movement from the school to the job market must not be too much of a transition. You must not be blank when you get to work. You don't know how to use even some of the small gadgets that are used at work. So you must be able to know how to work, and also how at school. What you have studied at school must be relevant. As well, we have SETAs that are helping as well with human resource development. And we know that we have a skills authority as well. So that one helps with human resource development. And then they must also provide free advisory services. So how do they advise for free? Like if somebody wants to go and start a new market for a certain product as an export, they should help in those instances so that people can be able to go and establish businesses. And they must help with the research and development so that everybody, when you start a new business, you don't have to start from scratch, you use too much money. So if there is free advisory services, people will be happy as well. Like for example, we look at research and development. They must do R&D so that people already know what in the market, which goods are acceptable, which goods are not going to be acceptable. The weather service, because some businesses are controlled by the weather. So they need to know whether it's going to rain. But these days, the weather has been so confused. Let's hope they get it right eventually. Right, so those were the factors under improving efficiency of inputs. Tax rates, capital consumption, human resource development, and free advisory services. All right then we come to the last factor.